Hi, I'm James, and today I'm going to do a video on nail grinding and nail trimming. I'm going to go step by step, show you some of the products you're going to need and you might want to buy, and show you how to do it with a few dogs here. First up, the things we might want to get if you're considering doing your own dog's nails at home. I would say avoid the traditional nail clippers because there's a lot of dangers involved in cracking the dog's nail and trimming it too short and having a bloody mess, where this comes into play, a little septic powder to stop any kind of little bleeding. It's actually a little capillary in there. It's not a major vein or anything like that, and it's in there to, keep it growing really fast, because they're made for digging into the earth. That's what claws are all about. I recommend grinding them, and if you're going to grind them at home, don't go for any TV products. Try to get a actual tool. You can go to any hardware store and pick up a Dremel. This is the kind I'd recommend. Professionally, I use the larger model, but you don't need this at home, and it goes a little bit too fast for your average dog, so you have to be very careful what speed you're using. This one really has an on and a high and a low, and works pretty good for every kind of dog. I've used it for years. They nice and powerful, just the right amount of torque, not too much torque, and certainly not enough noise to make it a scary option for the dogs. Your bits come in two different sizes, and depending on the type of dog you have and the type of nails you have, you can either use the 120 grit or the 60 grit. You find the number right there on each one, and it's about the coarseness. The 120, the higher the number, the more fine it is. So the 120 is a lot more fine, good for a small dog, little nails. The 60, of course, for a hound dog or a Labrador or something bigger, you're going to want to go larger. It's the same for the smaller size as well. And so anyway, this should run you about $20, and a pack of these for an average dog should last a lifetime for real. I mean, I do thousands of dogs a year, so of course I go through a lot more, but at home, that's about it. And we'll get to it, and I'll show you. We'll start with the first dog. First, when you're grinding a dog's nails, position is important, location is important. You want them to be up on a table, somewhere uncomfortable, but quasi-stable, so that they're not going to want to move off. They're going to feel unstable, and they're going to be still like this, so you don't have to play the wiggle battle. You've already won that war. And then once they're kind of standing still and uncomfortable in that position, then with a leash on, then you can start worrying about nails. So up on a freezer in the garage, or picnic table in the backyard, somewhere they never are. It's a really great place. It's a really great idea to not try to do it on the ground. So once you're up on a table, you want to try to get in this general position. Big, small. Big, it's like this. You're working on the side of the dog. But on the little dog, you want to kind of go over the top, put your hand underneath. You want to get your face in a snuggle and hold your foot. I'm trying to get closer. Baxter doesn't love it, but he's pretty good. And so when you hold the foot, you want to keep it forward in motion, not cock it out to the side where they're uncomfortable. You want to, on each toe, you have each toe, you want to put your finger on the toe and your thumb on the nail, and you're pushing on the nail into your grinder. So as you're grinding it, you start at an angle on the side, and then you work the other side. So you do one side, and then the other side, and you can see right there to the clit, but not past it. On these, they're clear or amber, so you can see them, but on the black nail, the good thing about grinding a toenail versus cutting it is when you're cutting it, you only have one cue as to what you're doing. That's looking at it, visual. But when you grind a dog's toenail, you have three cues. It's a dead and hollow out here, and it works its way like a little meaty cone, and then comes back into this fleshy area. So it's not immediate. And so as you're grinding it, it actually feels different. So it's a physical change. Plus you can hear it. It changes. It's with the grinder. You can hear it. So it's audible. So 3 different cues instead of 1 as to that you're doing a good job. Plus when you're finished, when you're at the end, you can just lightly brush off some of the rough edges and have a very nice toenail. And you see Baxter doesn't hurt Baxter. When you get to this toe, this is probably the easiest one and the one you should begin with as a beginner, because you're completely over the top. You have his head and shoulder controlled. One side, the next. One side, then the next. One side, then the next. One side, then the next. And that's that. Couldn't be easier.